double duelist versus single duelist.
All right, sticking to it. So we'll still see the exact same comp for Ghost Gaming still coming out with the Neon. So I'm excited for this one too, because ever since the patch was announced into the Neon changes, we haven't really had a chance to see yet in the VCTs. They're still playing Ascent in the map rotation as a new map pool, but still playing with the old Neon and the old shotguns. So now going into this one here for Ghost Gaming, we'll be able to witness here the true changes of what value that brings, what real changes we'll expect now of the Neon, and if that's going to change the playstyle here of a lot of these duelists that have been perfecting and mastering Neon in the past couple of months.
Neon has been very much slowed down, so is that still something that Khaleesi can thrive in and survive? And at least you're not seeing like a hard sentinel, something that will literally trip people up like a Vise or anything like that, something that could really be the kryptonite to a Neon, but you still have to get through 2 layers of smokes, and namely really adjust your timings and your pacing depending on, well, how much fuel would a Viper have left, and just are you really ready to cross that threshold, and what utility are you going to put behind that Viper's wall if you do just want to explode onto the site. So this is potentially our last map, as SAD took Ascent 13-7. If they take this one too, they will seal in their ticket for the main event.
Interesting wall 2 being thrown by Sekia on the defensive round of pistol. So you're trying to do a lot of aggro into the mid take, and also if you have to give up the mid line, then you're forcing players visibility that they cannot scale up here towards middle into the B site. So interesting start, but Ghost Gaming are reading into this. They're taking the weak site first. They can walk contact into this B main.
This is SAD really prioritizing that mid control to limit the options, and Sari has been limited already. So Ghost being aware of just the numbers that have crunched down on middle, as Vanitas will get the plant down as soon as possible. And Ghost Gaming, they get proactive. They're already pushing towards the back alleys, but this leaves their spike carrier out to dry. Ghost Gaming have to reunite, and it's not going to be easy. Now they have to re-clear within their own site. Someone's already on the spike, and that's going to stress Ghost Gaming, and they fall to their knees. Sad, man. That retake was lightning fast.
Yeah, and they never really needed to use the wall as a retake in the end, but I gotta say, it almost feels like there was a little bit of studying being done by Ghost Gaming, though, so I have to respect that, because they read perfectly to walk into the B main site. They executed into that, and not only did they do that, they pushed in towards the spawn to fight at that spot. The only thing I didn't like, though, was that if they knew that was happening, that SAD Esports were taking a lot of mid control in the first place, and that they had the perfect read, they should have planted more out in the open to get a chance, to give a chance for those that are pushing towards spawn to be able to fight back into the retake of SAD Esports. Unfortunately, the L got caught. They had to run back out into the open where SAD was all over the place already. Miko's about to go on a mission here.
Time to play some duck hunt, and I mean, that was a collat on the first bullet. That is insane. And the only duelist falls for Ghost Gaming. And that'll surely slow things down. But Gia will not give up, and both bullets miss for the Outlaw, and Ghost Gaming were not able to punish in that moment. But at least middle will be held down by Ghost, and they'll have angles, but this Outlaw claims 3. Ghost Gaming just could not get through Garage.
Very hard to do against an Outlaw when you don't have utils to work with here on the side of Ghost Gaming, and they're trying to save a little bit of util going into this round, because I think some sheriffs were being purchased to try to get the GC sheriff online on that second round. Unfortunately, it didn't come into fruition except for maybe 1 kill on the top middle. And you're seeing how that changes the patterns of the buys here for Ghost Gaming on the attack side, because 4 of them, or actually, sorry, 3 of them are on Guardians, so that everybody could afford full shields to fight against the Outlaw one more time.
Run it back. The definition of insanity. Oh, well, not an insane shot at the very least. Khaleesi really likes the tempo shift. Brought those 7 first bloods on the previous map and is trying to make magic happen again, and is really secluded here as Gia just puts a hail of bullets behind their duelist, and that is enough to succumb SAD's defense for the moment as the plant goes through for Ghost, and now a 5 versus 2.
Love that in terms of scaling here for Khaleesi. We'll talk about that in a second, because there's a fight happening towards mid-Robin, and Sekia is going to win that one. So doing econ damage is going to be super important here for SAD Esports if they could actually get these exits.
First flash, no contact. Eli in the
Flash
way,
trap
watching
destroyed.
their angle. The other two probably have a high low near the back corner of boxes, so Ghost Gaming have perfect setup for the post plants, and I don't know. Okay, there we go. That got a little scary in the end, but Ghost Gaming keep themselves in the shadow of Sad.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how we went from a triple high low in the back of the site to only having maybe one person watching that sign. It almost felt like the third player felt too antsy that they had to try to save their teammates on that left side of the boxes. So it does become an expensive round in the end, though, for the bonus round for SAD Esports again. Ghosts, if you're looking at the buy here, another one of them are going to be at half shields one more time. So Miko could take advantage of that in the end. But look at the wall that they do here. They went for the fast lane over on the B exit and just have the Prowler go behind it. So instead of having the Neon jump around to find the info, it's the Prowler that does it for you. This time trying to sell a fake, but you fully missed that wall. So they're not going to bite into that here for SAD Esports. They're going to be ready to fight back up with it.
And once SAD accomplish what they need, get info on mid, they're ready to collapse on really any of the angles. Because once you have mid control, it is a very nice shortcut to be able to use that vents to cross over into A or B. I'm going to show us a different look, but they get caught by the flash. Khaleesi dips into cover just in time, and Chia, with such a good supportive omen in these last couple of rounds, gives that first blood and gives Ghost Gaming really space to work with on where they want to go next.
Yeah, Kalsushi was a little bit too antsy after pop flashing and peeking into main. They actually saw a couple of players there, and after missing the first shot, to re-peek, though, was a little bit dangerous to do.
That offensive lurk is gone, but wait, Sleepy Arya, just from the ramp, claims the tail end of Ghost Gaming's death ball. At least Khaleesi wants to explore the reinforcements that could be rotating in. You heard the rope and waiting before pulling that trigger. More around the corner. Concuss maybe not fully connecting there, but Khaleesi's presence here is what's going to be threatening, and SAD has to address it. They'll have two players. Khaleesi picks the moment to nope out of there and play with the team as instead. 3 versus 2 now for the post plant, but Ghost Gaming are getting bagged and spammed. You need Ghost Gaming to retaliate, and so they do to match up the score.
And that's the good thing here about the Neon. You see that she still has the power to be able to escape, except you're not going to be able to bunny hop as much, so maybe some shots could be very doable, but if you put yourself in good positions here, you can definitely escape quite easily. And she finds great timing, great opening too, the walk contact to punish Miku at the entrance of the A site. And overall, you're starting to see here on this map that Neon is still pretty decent right now in the hands of Khaleesi for Ghost Gaming on their opponent's map pick here. And let's keep wanting to pressure into this B main control, because why not? You're trying to push that line away here and trying to have your opponents respect that they can't paint that line on a scope, which is very nice conditioning here for Ghost Gaming to start.
Yeah, surprised Khaleesi didn't want to just grab the orb to just pull out the overdrive if that's something they care about, but Khaleesi very confident they could get the kills either way. Fowler will check out mid, nothing to shoot that down. Gaming going in a little bit blind when it comes to mid, as Sari's lurk is successful here for Ghost to once again remove Miku from that angle. So the threat's now limited from that side. It's too ready to converge on the other side of the orb, but the timing wasn't fully synchronized as Sekia swung without Kalsushi. And now they become sushi after Ghost Gaming take mid. Oh, hello. Oh, hello! A Bucky right to the dome. Who expects someone to satchel like that? And a quick pivot from Ghost after encountering said Bucky. I understand not wanting to challenge that. Rosetta looks from up below. So manages to take one. But 3v1, I would say, is looking winnable for Ghost.
Good intake though from Sarah in the end behind the boxes, though. That stops bleeding, because yes, I was holding my breath because it definitely looked doable in the end. Another 2vx scenario that SAD Esports going to convert it going into the round. But I think at this point, I like the setup that we currently have here from Ghost Gaming. they're utilizing the Vice wall to support here on the A site lurk with the Viper, and then still put a lot of players to focus into a B main start, so that again you're disrespecting the line that SAD Esports is trying to take the scope, and then you can still try to have different ways to activate the lurk on the A site from the Vice wall and the Viper wall. So again, a great little start, but this round over, Eli is saving her their walls so that they can use it for a B main push, because this time you don't see Ghost Gaming focus 4 players into a B main control.
I think Cal Sushi just grabbed the orb and garage for Seekers, so there's so many good options for SAD on how they want to kick off this fight, as Miku is trying to keep a safe distance away by using the op and wasn't able to fully contact Siri, and missing out on that pick is gonna hurt. The Nightfall falls down on the A side, and Ghost Gaming take full advantage. They send the Prowler, they send the house, and Khaleesi greets the op with her face, which is not ideal, and the op still remains, and now the Sky is in the picture. Miku will be mostly healthy. Ghost Gaming, though, they have the objective down. Now they have the advantage of time. SAD, though, have the numbers. A Paranoia will get right through the site, satcheling across a little awkwardly, but as they all trickle in, Ghost Gaming have the firing squad in position. So unfortunately for Rosetta, it's not going to end well.
Yeah. Okay, 2 players I want to highlight going to that previous round. First off, the lurk from Siri continues to be amazing here on the A side. You're fighting an Opper on Miku on the one end, and you dink her down to 16 HP, forcing the line back. But then you highlight Miku because she's so confident, being able to try to fight back towards the A main, disrespect the neon wall on top of A side, yet still walking down towards screen to take down Khaleesi into a slide tackle. That was a sick shot. But in the end, because of that lurk and the damage that Siri has done in the first place, SAD Esports already had the game plan of just having the op in the front side and to try to get some picks so that it could give them a chance to retake that site. But as you don't get any picks, their flood retake is so much more difficult when Ghost Gaming already set up here in the pulse plan right after, because most of your resources are still fighting towards middle. So nicely done in the end by Ghost Gaming to prevent the flood retake from happening. And for a team that's was 5-1 so far here for SAD Esports in this split, Ghost Gaming, despite a nerfed up Neon, are still looking quite strong on this map with no compositional change.
Yeah, and Ghost got to pick starting off on offense. It's a very attack-sided map, I would say, and I mean, it's working out. I don't think they're, like, they really don't have that many more kills compared to SAD, maybe a small handful. So this is really coming down to the post plants having so many members still alive. And for SAD, maybe try and prevent this a bit better, which now, in this round, you have a bunch of sheriffs and 1 stinger. So we'll see if SAD kind of desperate strategies they would come up with that. And SAD's initial look was just to stack towards garage, something that Ghost Gaming have been easily able to get through. Now it's okay. You know, Miku has kind of created a weak lurk on this side, so Ghost Gaming want to follow through on that. As Miku with the knives out, waiting for their moment to emerge. See if they can get the right flank. Just the way that Sleepy Arya has had really impactful moments on this ramp fight. Careful. Miku checking every corner carefully. The flash at the back end enables Miku perfectly. And look at this crunch, but the trades from Ghost Gaming pretty much equalize things at all. Khaleesi wish they had used the ults a little earlier. Encountering SAD at ramp. Remember, this was SAD on mostly an eco. A bunch of sheriffs. They now have 2 upgrades, but Ghost Gaming, they have the spike starting to tick down. Vanitas just has to play their life, but SAD play for the win.
My gosh. A thrifty round for SAD Esports, making a conversion out of that one. I gotta say, Khaleesi kind of gifted a weapon away, not only from missing the overdrive in their timing, but that's another rifle being able to get picked up towards that A main. It first started off well with the flood retake, though. You have to respect SAD Esports flashing to take control of attacker side A main first to really take down the lurk of Siri, who's been very good in that position in first place. But then after that, instead of trying to leverage your weapons, the range, and your crossfire setup, they've been really good on in the pulse plant here for Ghost Gaming. They tried to go for hero plays and got punished right away, so that is going to hurt. Maybe another one of those big rounds here that becomes a quick turnaround for SAD.
Oh my god, thank god for that Prowler. Just get down, Mr. President. Prowler right there to save Khaleesi, which just barely is still remaining, by the way. 2 HP with no Sky to heal that up, and at 2 HP, Khaleesi gets first blood. How does that happen? Just getting a pick into vents now really opens up that space as Ghost will just take care of the dog that came down from Cal Sushi's ramp side. Now Ghost will take a second to talk about this.
It's just jiggles too. Oh, almost caught that one as well. But all you gotta do is control A heaven now for Cal Sushi and wait for your teammates to rotate. Because again, after this timeout, you're still focusing on a lot of mid control for SAD Esports.
Like the patience there from Cal Sushi, but that does mean Ghost Gaming can bring their fortress up with the Viper's Pit. This is going to be even more difficult for SAD to get through. You have a Paranoia. You have nothing left from Cal Sushi. You got Satchels in a Dream for SAD, and Khaleesi 2 HP. At least is good bait for Gia to slam down some multi-kills. There's a Steel Garden from Eli just to take care of anything else that SAD had left in their arsenal. Doubling the numbers.
One enemy remaining.
To double the score soon as Ghost Gaming get back on their feet, and just blindly shooting is enough for Ghost Gaming.
Yeah, they had a good start by getting their thrifty against Ghost Gaming a couple of rounds ago, but then opting to go for a 2v4 while you're actually being caught by the Steel Garden and a pit is still up. I think at that point that could have been a call for SAD Esports to save their weapons, because they could carry over 4 weapons going into this round instead of having a mixed buy going into this current round number 9 here for SAD Esports. So kind of didn't like that result in the end, but Ghost Gaming, I think at this point both teams took advantage in the last 2 rounds of mistakes from their opponents, and that just resets the timing here for Ghost Gaming. I was talking about SAD Esports being able to run away after that thrifty, but now Ghost Gaming are able to still comfortably maintain the lead now of this first half.
Bring them down.
Ooh, someone's in vents. Vania's gonna keep pressuring that vents player if Ghosts want to try and overwhelm, and Khaleesi's pushed off the angle, so good resistance from SAD, and Ghosts don't know what's awaiting them on the other side. There's been such a good supportive cast around Khaleesi. Now that the smoke, the orb comes down, there's no presence from SAD and no fight that Ghost can easily take here.
They're always going to be very afraid and respectful for Ghost Gaming, because SAD are able to convert scenarios that they shouldn't be able to convert. This wall, though, if it gets activated, might force them to be a little bit more quicker on the exec.
Eli gonna try and get high ground, but seem to have a split sort of objective here, as Ghosts don't have control of vents if they want to cross over into A. I guess we're going to create a fake on the A side, using 2 players, while the 3 stack of Ghosts head towards B. Miku and the rest of SAD very much distracted by this fake, which leaves a completely open site here over at B, but leaves Sari stranded. But hey, she has been an absolute menace on her side of things, and always having eyes on heaven and middle and then heaven. It's going to be a huge boon for Ghost Gaming on this post plant, allowing Khaleesi to focus towards the defender's spawn. No control of garage. Sari's able to take care of matters. Just needs a few more seconds to get this flank generated, as Vanitas puts as much resistance as she can on the front lines, but the timing is a little off for Ghost Gaming. A SAD crunch from all sides, and they keep this game within 1.
Another Laura buy converted by SAD Esports, and that was insane. First off, for Miku to be able to win that laser beam stinger fight on the top of A Heaven was really everything that started toppling down here for Ghost Gaming once again. I felt like they lost their timing potentially for SAD Esports to punish the lurk from Siri on the top of A Heaven, but at the end of the day, it becomes the flood retake into their own favor, because Ghost Gaming were all individually trying to find delays and timings and just play their lives so that Siri could get good value off the late rotate, once again, the late lurk into the B main. So CPR being selfless, satchels in, gets team flashed, but on top of that, still gets value because Kalsushi opens up the playing field right after.
Okay, nice fall. Right through 2 players of Sad. Now through the wall, Khaleesi can now get backline pressure going. So Sad need a cutoff kill here. And of course, high ground is smoked off. And the kill is amazing from Ghost to seclude and really cause chaos in the Sad camp. Now Seeker, 1 flashes, but cut off by Thorns. Ghost always have an answer. 4 versus 1. Job's pretty much done. Kalsushi, though, 1v4 brings the team down to half. A high-low. No? Kalsushi has to cross that threshold, and Khaleesi gets ahead of it. That still looks scary. Let's Ghost Gaming get ahead by 2.
Yeah, and not going for the reload too, because it was probably called by inaudible by their teammates that Evil Eli was pretty low on HP, so 7 bullets maybe could have been enough to go for the fight on that double high-low in the back of that B site. And it almost was going to be a round converted again that should have been converted by SAD Esports. I think that will be the story of the series between these 2 teams if SAD Esports is able to close out on a 2-0 here. But that said, the exit was very nice by Ghost Gaming. The Nightfall got so much value, and SAD Esports just couldn't hold their grounds because of that. So big ult that was needed.
Yeah, if you think about it, SAD haven't won a rifle round. They won pistol, anti-eco, and 2 thrifties. So it's they're kind of nerfed in this state, I guess. And well, Khaleesi comes knocking. Sekia did not want to meet that unfriendly neighbor. But this is just the power of the neon. Now Khaleesi's been able to tempo shift, and Miku is gonna get assistance from Kalsushi this time. No longer solo on the right side of the map, and Sari giving a lot of respect to this.
And it's a double walk, though, towards this A main. So hopefully these 2 players on me could stall as much as they can.
Hey, Khaleesi, an entry all by herself, and just didn't finish her food. You thought you fully killed the Omen. At least it leaves room for the rest of Ghost Gaming to take over, finish what Khaleesi started, and that's exactly what they have on the menu. Kalsushi in a very familiar situation of a 1 versus 3.
Yeah.
At least, I mean, they don't know where Kalsushi is, but now that the wall is triggered, it is now do or die. Flash out, haunt, a lot on Kalsushi's plate, another flash. Almost was able to line up the 2, but I mean, Ghost Gaming just bail each other out. There was just no way.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it was they knew for sure from not only from the wall, but the double push, right? Because it was Kalsushi and Miku going back from the B main, but there was already a trade-off happening in the first place from the market side. I think it was Siri that was holding on that side. But nonetheless, even if they know where Kalsushi is coming from, Kalsushi almost won a 1v4 in that previous round. So yeah, it's good on them to be able to maintain that pressure and making sure here that Ghost Gaming is able to convert another strong round. But you've mentioned it here, Lemon Kiwi. It's not the best of rounds for SAD Esports that always has to rely on heroic plays to be able to win these rounds. They haven't been as clean as you wanted to on defense.
Good. Not something SAD can fight through, and if anything, you poke the bear. And Khaleesi comes in roaring. Now these entries have been so consistent. This was the version of Khaleesi we wanted to see. Not just with the first blitz. We know she can do that. But it's about living through the rest of the round until now. The boss has been killed. And SAD now have threats generating on multiple sides. Ghost Gaming starting to be real nervous. They have no high ground. They have nothing going for them. But when they get cornered, they know how to answer. He has been marked on the drop down. Eli so clean on these executes, by the way. Gives Ghost Gaming an 8-4 half.
Yeah, Eli, another one of these multi-kills in this series so far. Coming up huge for this side of Ghost Gaming. And definitely looking overall for Ghost Gaming a lot more warmed up than they have been on the first map of Ascent. I think it's one of those, oh gosh, let's just try to come out with something new, as I mentioned before, on that first map. Let's go back with the double Senti and try to make this work, and just trying to force maybe the play on the side of Ghost Gaming. But now that they're able to play to their comfort picks into a comfortable role for each one of these players, starting to see the value in the end. SAD Esports yet to have a strong round in this map against Ghost Gaming. This round is going to be important as they're sacking 4 players to fight against a 2-1 B main for this round.
This is where the double duelist really has to shine. Against a Fade and a Duelist. A Neon on the other side. Vanitas waits for the to be thrown and right into Sad. Whoa, whoa, whoa! That is way too much smoke. Khaleesi did not want all of that smoke, but we do want a good 4 versus 4. The flash is stupendous from Kalsushi, but Sari's 3K is what gives a kicking chance to Ghost. As Sekia, the lone wolf in this round for Sad, has to cross oceans to reach the spike.
Love that these two are sticking together, though, Eli and Sari, to make sure that they try to go for the highest percentage win. Low HP to bait out, and then Eli to swing after.
And make it a 4K from Sari on the second pistol. And Ghost now extending their lead even more, which is gonna spell some doom and gloom in the Sad camp and for Sad fans on any kind of potential retaliation, especially when the rifle round wins just haven't happened in that first half, and the first rifle round is going to be even further away.
Yeah. Ghost almost got caught, though, with their pants down at the very beginning, because you're seeing Khaleesi was trying to go for the high gear jiggle peek instead of the jump after the Prowler, but that should have been like an instant stun instead of a jiggle or something. And thankfully, though, Sari was there. I think there was a snake bite probably with these kills, but...
Oh, what a recon, of course. Miku dashing across a 2-for-1. You'll take those kind of deals if you're Khaleesi, especially with the
enemy remaining.
Of course, he had a stinger
Spike
force
down
from
A.
Sekia, who's not able to get close enough for that to have some power behind it. Now Rosetta is going to try to use the element of mystery, also with a sheriff and no other guns in sight. Pull like a rabbit out of her hat.
Yeah, and it's already being pinged towards that side too. So in a couple of seconds, there's actually already one watching it. It's Gia watching it from the top of the ramp.
Might as well. There's so many angles you can watch, so many people to do it. So hey, Ghost Gaming to double digits on Sad's map pick, and it's all gonna depend on if Sad can win this rifle round, which is not really happened thus far, but maybe this is where it's going to look a lot better on an attacking side of things.
An impressive answer back so far from Ghost Gaming after what we've seen on that first half. And I love the resilience that we currently have from Ghost Gaming so far. Despite those 2 eco rounds that you mentioned here, let me kiwi in round number 7 and 9. They're still holding strong here.
Oh yeah, they don't even have money to buy.
Yeah. That was a force we had on the previous round, so... I think they're realizing here from Sad Esports that they had to, no matter what, try to go for a surprise stinger buy or something, but then now they're going to have to play the uphill battle.
Sad be a lot more precise now with mostly sheriffs. As Miku dashes into vents, hoping to greet a neutral defender there, but no one there.
Poison's off.
And when it rains, it pours. As Sari need to use too many bullets for the dog. It almost paid the price on a very unlucky turn away. As Sari will reload, but not get the third. But Miku with the Bucky has nothing else to do. No one to bail them out, and that means Ghost Gaming get up to 11.
So far, shotguns are still pretty decent, despite the changes.
Yeah.
Even if the Bucky was a little bit hard to get the pick in the first place, I do like that you kind of backed out there on that top B heaven side on that defense, which is why the Bucky didn't get the best value as possible there for Miku. That was now the force buy on second round into a mixed buy, and then now back to the rifle rounds, and you're hoping that it becomes clean from now on here for Sad Esports if you're a Sad fan, but we're about to fight World War 14 here on B main.
Stack. A numbered stack on the Ghost Gaming side, and Khaleesi just blossoms with confidence, always getting in Sad's face. And despite the nerf on the agent, really doesn't seem like it's affected Khaleesi at all. And Sad, this was going to be the round to turn it all around. First rifle round of the half, and you drop 2 immediately. One of the duelists, but at least you can try to make something happen here. It's an important lurk. Needs to flourish here for Sekia, while Miku just goes hunting, finishes off, and goes and follows through on the call that Sekia made of someone towards the defender's spawn. Now Sad try to make this close. 3 versus 5 is how this round started, and it doesn't get any better. Losing Miku. Really gonna hurt Sad's chances here. It doesn't get better when Seki and Kalsushi can't be together. Seekers. And it's not enough. Ghost Gaming now to match point.
I like the first attempt of repositioning though for SAD Esports in that pulse plant, but I think after the first flash doesn't really get real value when the updraft here from your duelist on the jet got picked off from Miku. I don't think Sekia should have been out in the open on that A ramp. After that, you have to use the element of surprise. It's planted for you on the top of A heaven. You got to kind of just bait Kalsushi, because for Ghost Gaming, they know where Kalsushi's at, but Sekia still potentially had the element of surprise, and then you could still go for the hero plays in that set, in that sense. But that said, they were forced to do these type of plays because of the nice push from Ghost Gaming at the beginning of this of the last round. Sorry, when Khaleesi once again gets great value of being aggressive, sliding, and getting value off the judge. So now they've definitely learned from how from how Sleepy Arya has taught them how to play the Neon in the first place, and now we're seeing the Neon Odin on defense. And here's my little anecdote here, Lemon Kiwi, because for a whole year I had Sleepy Arya talk to me about how good that combination is, and I've never seen them use it for Wadadaa in the first place. And now I'm able to see it for Khaleesi on Ghost Gaming. So now I could die happy, because it's actually being used against Sleepy Arya themselves.
And despite, speaking of Sleepy Arya subbing in, they're playing the exact same comp, except Miku is on Jet, where Miku's usually the Raze player. So again, playing around Sleepy Arya's comfort picks. But this was such a good map for Sad, so I'm still so surprised to see this kind of scoreline. They won 13-3, but with all of that thought, of course, right into the defenders. Sad march on as a death ball, a flash into the site. Khaleesi stick to her guns, and Vanitas will back her up. The Nightfall comes in just in time to ping all the players. And now Vanitas will be joined here by Eli to get the spike down and to get Ghost Gaming that much closer to a Haven Map 3 coming up. Sekia and Rosetta at least try to play off of each other. Crossfire situation. Vanitas gets floored. Good moment for Sekia. 2 versus 3. Sat on their last life, and they still have to collect the spike. Rosetta knows what's waiting for her around the corner. And Eli adjusts and taps the head. And taps the sign. We're going to Haven. Map 3.